Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy So, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with So. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, the Dolphins come home to get 3-0 after a record breaking game. The Marlins are still fighting to the very end of the season for their wild card spot. The Hurricanes show that they can play well on the road and get a big victory at Tampa. And Inter Miami takes away a point from Orlando FC. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go. We back in the building. Well, we're not in the building, separate buildings, but we're together. We're together here.
We are
platform.
Each in respective buildings, structures of sorts.
Facts. Feel me? Straight facts. How you living, my bro?
I'm good, dog. I'm good. I can't complain. You know, if I did, it wouldn't matter because nobody would care.
Yeah, I mean, some people would care, but not the important people, right?
That's right. What's going on, my boy?
I'm feeling good, man. We're coming off a big victory over the weekend. We saw the Canes handle business, the Marlins taking care of their business too. Like South Florida sports right now is on fire, dog. And of course, we got to start off with mentioning OnlyFans. If you guys haven't subscribed to the Sports with Social YouTube channel, OnlyFans is worth it in itself. We recap every single Dolphins game week in, week out. We got the homeboy Tune Out Martin joining us every week, and Rax. Shout out to them boys, along with Joel and I, and we break down the game, man. And this game was a great game to break down, right?
Yeah, we definitely had fun with this one, bro.
Yeah.
70. I mean, I know 50 is a burger. I don't know what 70 is, dog. Shannon.
I guess that's nuggets on the side, right? Like a 10-piece of nuggets.
That's what Shannon said. He said a 50-piece and an extra 20 on the side. Hold that.
Hold that there. Well, shit, let's jump straight into it, man. The Dolphins improved to 3-0. We mentioned the score 70-20. They beat the Denver Broncos at home for their season opener.
Beat the brakes off the boys.
We did, dog. But like for us coming into that game, right? Like it was not necessarily a measuring stick, but we wanted to see what type of fight they would come out with, right? And how much energy would they have after two road games to start the season. These dudes responded in an excellent way. You know, they literally go down there, score on the first drive, and after that, it was just a touchdown fest. Like I said earlier, we did a great job of breaking it down on OnlyFans, but like, what were some of the main takeaways that you took away from this game?
I mean, three. Let's usually it's in threes that we can remember things, right? So let's think of three things that are three takeaways here. Number one, the offense is firing on all cylinders.
Yes, sir.
I mean, as far as the execution of the play calls, they're firing on all cylinders. We've seen it through three games already be very consistent. The New England game, was probably the toughest so far of the three. They kind of, even still, we had a great first half and they kind of came back a little bit on us and we were still able to close out. But offense has been firing on all cylinders. With that, the guy calling the plays, McDaniels, McDaniels is on point right now. He's doing his thing. A couple of questionable, fourth down calls, some that has gone his way, a couple that haven't gone his way. But all in all, you got to love the assortment of play calling that we're getting from the guy. And then the is that the defense, is doing the thing. We're piecing it together where last year we were getting it beat every other play by, in the secondary and stuff like that. Through three games, we've been able to contain some of these guys. And granted, I know that the Patriots don't got a whole lot, and I know that the Broncos, aside from Portland Sutton,
nothing.
They don't really got a whole lot going on either. But week one against the Chargers, we saw, that was the first week of the season, and we saw what happens when we're fresh and we don't know what's going on, and there's room for error there, and they can put up points. But we've tightened up ever since then,
Absolutely. So, and I gotta double down on what you said earlier. Like the Patriots game was definitely our toughest game when you look at these three games, right? We're not going to talk about Buffalo just yet and what potential that has to be a tough game. But when you look at what the Patriots took away from us, right, as far as the offense is concerned, that was definitely our toughest matchup. And we still found ways to be creative, to put the ball in our playmakers' hand and put up the points continuously, right, to win that game. Well, what we saw this past Sunday was Denver pretty much being a punching bag. They didn't really offer. I get it. They had some two players missing key positions, but they didn't really offer anything to stop us. And for as much as we know that a lot of this season depends on Tua and his ability to play well week in, week out, right? Like this was probably his easiest game ever. And it was that because of the running I don't know what it wasn't even a game. Like it was like a rushing freaking waterfall that happened in that game. Like,
It was a frenzy, bro. We
it was a
had
frenzy.
an anomaly game, honestly, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
totally with you. Obviously, you got to be ecstatic. I mean, this is record breaking for the Finns, bro. And in the
Right.
time that we've been doing the show and the time that we've been fans of this team, we've never seen anything like this. We've been through the ups and downs. We've been through the Ricky Williams. We've been through the Ronnie Brown. We've been through the Tannehill phase. We've been through the Jay Ajayi. We've been through a lot, dog. The Lamar Millers. We've been through a lot, and we really haven't really gotten the results that we wanted ever. We've had flashes here and there, the Miami Miracle, against the Patriots and stuff like that. There's always a couple little things, but nothing as impressive as this 2023 Dolphins unit right now.
No, for sure. It's definitely impressive. And when we talk about impressive, we also got to mention the O-line. Those guys, man. Those guys have really stepped it up. And that was one of the main things that we really criticized about the front office and all of that, right? Because it was like, yo, how do you not address this position of need? Because we didn't have necessarily, a lock-in starter in the offensive line minus T. Armstead, right? Like everybody else was up and down. This guy's playing right tackle, and now this week he's playing left guard, and it was just a jumble, right? Now we see these guys locked into their positions, comfortable in their position, getting repetitive starts in their position. And it started in preseason, and now we're seeing the fruits of that labor paying off because this offense is really keeping Tua exactly how we need him. One sack, not knocked down, clean as jersey.
And it's been, phenomenal so far. We didn't have Armstead the first two games. This was his first game back, and we put him 70. So, that's a good sign. But we have we gotta face it. We have our first real test of this season this Sunday against the Bills, who are known to bring the blitz. McDermott's a defensive-minded coach. He's gonna scheme up some shit to try to get the Tua, do what the other three teams that we face have not done yet. And we gotta be ready for that. The offensive line needs to go to war for Tua, bro.
No, and we need to stick what has been working for us, right? Let's continue to pound the rock. We've seen in these three first games, as we mentioned on OnlyFans, we start the game with the running play, kind of letting the other team know, like, hey, we're not going to abandon this shit like we did last year. We're going to keep putting the ball in the running back's hand because we believe these guys can find the room to make plays. And we saw that. Mostert, 4 touchdowns. A chain, 4 touchdowns. Like,
hold on.
Chan. How is it now? A-Chan, right? Not A-Chain. A-Chan.
Devon A-Chan.
Devon A-Chan. Putting up, just like you said, an anomaly when it comes to the production, but just the fact that they got carries, right? That they were able to continue to push the rock and the offensive line continued to push the defensive line back. That's the type of stuff that we're going to need to see against this game, in this upcoming game against Buffalo. And that's why I kind of want to warn my fellow Fin fans, like, we can't get too caught up in the hype of this game that just happened.
That's right. That's right.
Today,
it feels good. It's awesome, but it happened already. Now we got to focus on the next game.
Like, by the time you guys are seeing this, it's Tuesday. Like, great. We went over all the stats, all the record-breaking stuff, super cool, all this, that, and the third. But now we know that we have a real test coming up on our hands. Buffalo is not going to mess around. Joel mentioned it earlier. Like, we know that the defense is going to be on par against our offense. So we're going to have to execute, continue to play clean football, and just try to play mistake-free football as possible against this team. You and I have been having private conversations when it comes to the AFC East, right? And what it's going to take to win it. I really do think that this game means a lot if we're going to win the division. If we give ourselves any hope of winning the division, it starts with this game because we have to win this game. It would be our second division win before we even play the Jets, right? And now we possibly have a chance to sweep the rest of the AFC East games, right? Just by getting up ahead. I'd rather be in that position than to say, well, we can kind of lose this game split and still win the division. I know that that's your stance on it.
Well, I mean, shit. Now you're spinning it in a way that like the media does, which I don't appreciate. First of all, second of all, this game does have playoff implications. I mean,
Yeah.
100%. The AFC East runs through Buffalo for the last couple of years,
Mhm.
and we saw what happened last year when we met them. We without Tua, we almost had them. And there's no doubt in my mind, Tua healthy this Sunday. I mean, we got our best shot that we've ever had against Buffalo.
Yeah.
And it's not that I say, if we go in there and we lose, it's okay. I think that if we split with Buffalo, we still have a shot at winning the division. Now, that's not
Correct.
to say we're going to split the division and still have a shot. No, we got to sweep the Bills. I'm sorry, we got to sweep the Patriots and we got to sweep the Jets.
Yeah.
Both doable. We
Yeah.
sweep both of those guys and we split with Buffalo. Now we're talking, okay, we can contend for the division title.
For sure.
But I think that this is going to be the toughest task, man. This is going to be a really interesting game. It's going to be a playoff kind of atmosphere up in Buffalo. I'm
Yeah.
happy we're playing them now instead of in December, when we're going to have to play them later on back here at home. That's going to have even more playoff implications. So I think this is the one that sets the tone, man. This really sets the tone. I hope the fans travel well for this game.
Yes, sir.
They
We know
go
we
up to
will.
Buffalo. They represent, because that's what this team deserves. The way they're putting on shows right now, bro, they deserve a traveling road show behind them.
No, absolutely. And the Dolphins have always traveled well. So this game is definitely going to be one of those high points of Dolphins on the road, right? But I think that, yeah, you're right. This is going to be what makes the division. We need to get to 4 wins in the division in order to win the division, or at least give ourselves a shot. We already saw the Bills lost to the Jets, so that door is open to sweep the Jets, sweep the Patriots. We're already halfway to that, right? Or a quarter of the way there. If we can beat the Bills on Sunday, because they haven't looked like a juggernaut Bills teams that we faced before, right? Like
This
they're
week,
still
this
getting
week they're
their
a lot
feet
better.
under them. No, they looked a lot better, but they're still not the same Bills. Or maybe it's because we don't fear them that way or see them in that way because of how good the offense is playing right now, right? It's like we're very confident in our ability to put up points. I'm sure they're confident in their ability to stop us, but this is probably the most confidence we've had heading into a Buffalo's Bill game in for sure recent history.
Especially
Um,
at Buffalo on the road.
yeah,
We
yeah,
won, we
especially
got
for a road
2
game.
road wins already under our belt. Like you just said, we saw the Jets beat you guys.
Yeah,
Jets without Aaron Rodgers. Like we know. I mean, we don't have Sauce Gardner, but we do have an elite defense. We got a great D line that's comparable, if not, just as good as the Jets D line, and we got DBs. We got Xavier Howard and crew.
yeah.
So I think this game. The keys to this game. Let's talk about keys to winning this game. Right.
Talk about it.
Number one is we got to protect Tua. With
No,
O-line,
for
he
sure.
has to
That's
do what
always a
they
given.
did.
That's always a given.
O-line has to do what they've been doing consistently. We got to make sure that they're not getting to him and that he's getting the ball out of his hand quick enough so that way there's no risk for an injury. The second thing that we got to do is we got to contain Josh Allen. Josh Allen runs amok all over us whenever he plays us, bro. That guy rushes. I don't know why, but he decides to hurdle over everybody on our defensive line and get like 20, 30 yards every rush. So we got to contain that guy. Protect Tua, get him to get the ball out quick. Defensively, we got to contain Josh Allen. And the last thing is we got to get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands. That's it. That's
I
it.
think
Get
I
the ball in
think the
Tyreek's hands.
biggest I think the biggest thing for this game is going to be win the turnover battle. Don't lose a turnover battle, right? Because both defenses are good enough and have playmakers on both sides that an extra fumble, an extra wide interception, an extra tip ball, like that is going to be a difference maker, right? That's why I said
Sure.
play as much as you can with mistake-free football. But if there is turnovers in the game, we gotta win that battle, right? We saw Javon Holland have 2 forced fumbles. We need that type of effort from our guys. And as far as Josh Allen goes, I think the second most important thing is actually bringing him down. Not necessarily like stopping him from running out the pocket. He's been doing that this season a lot more than previous seasons because of how, I don't want to say struggling, but they haven't got off to the same rhythm as before. So he's scrambling a lot more. But what I'm saying is like when he's in the pocket and we get a chance to put hands on him and hit him or whatever, let's bring him down. Let's not let this guy break a tackle, get away, and scramble for 3, 4, 5 yards and get a first down or something like that. We have to make sure we bring him down. And then, keep running the ball. Keep running the ball. Let's win the time of possession. Keep him on the bench, right? give our guys Molster and a chance to do their thing and build off this week's past performance, you know, and try to win the game that way and take control of the division by getting a big victory up in Buffalo.
I
I
mean,
think
we started separating ourselves with a victory in Buffalo. Buffalo, like you
absolutely,
just said, they're already 0-1 in division play against the Jets. We
yep,
are 1-0 against the Patriots. Patriots are 0-1. The Jets, they got their own problems. They're 1-0, but they got a lot more issues going on. So this
absolutely,
will start creating space, a victory in Buffalo. There's a lot at stake, honestly, for this
yeah,
game.
yeah, man, it's a big game. It's a big game, bro.
Fourth week of the season, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. But yes, it's like that. It's like that. We've seen it time and time again.
4 straight AFC games. 4 straight AFC games. You got to continue to win games outside your division. Prove that you're the real deal. Prove that you're a real playoff contender. And like everybody's saying on the national media, a Super Bowl type looking team. So let's go out there and get the dub. It's this Sunday, 1 o'clock up in Buffalo. You know what's going to happen after the game. Only fans, baby. We're going to bring it to you. Myself, Joel, Rax, Martin. Going to bring you all that action, baby. Fins up. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Yes, sir. Now let's jump into another team that's fighting for their lives, literally. Right? That's the Marlins. Yeah, I see you rocking the Sugar King hat. I'm rocking the Miami Golf
Hey,
Clubs hat.
bro, they're coming off a series win against Milwaukee, baby. We got that revenge.
Yeah, man, and we needed it. We needed that victory, bro. Because believe it or not, like if we don't get that series against Milwaukee, the season's over, right? Because we lost the previous season series against the Mets. Didn't
So
really
stupid.
play well. It was just weird how we played in that series as a whole, right? And we needed a bounce back, but that's exactly what the Marlins have been doing this season, bro. They've been battling, showing that they can, face adversity, get knocked down, pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go out there and get a win. Because they lost that first game of the series against Milwaukee. I think it was 16-1. And then they
Well,
fought back and won their second game. Um, you know,
Milwaukee had a field day in the second inning of that game. They put up like 12 runs.
that shit
But
was weird.
the concerning thing though, so I'm happy. There's still a chance. We're still alive, right? Which is what we're going to talk about now. But the concerning thing as a fan is, we're in the midst of postseason already.
Yeah.
The question is, are the Marlins a legitimate playoff contender? Can they get into the playoffs, and can they not only once they're in it, compete? Can they stay in it, right? Can they advance and do something, not just be a first round knockout?
Right.
And after you beat the Braves, you sweep that series in a dominant fashion. You're thinking, all right, these guys are primed to make a little run right here. They got the Mets who are struggling this season. They're going to go ahead and they're going to take this series and we get ready for Milwaukee. And instead, we fell flat on our face against the team that we should have beat.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. I know we turned around and we beat Milwaukee, but it's like, man, we would be in a much better position had we won that Mets series. And the fact that they didn't, raises my eyebrow. Like, are we really able to compete with some of these teams in the postseason?
Well, Joel, what that shows you is just how young and inexperienced this team is as a whole, right? Like, yeah, we have veteran players, obviously, in key positions, but we also have a lot of young guys who are learning, right? And probably haven't been on a necessary winning franchise that's battling for the playoffs and know what it takes to play in September, you know what I mean? Or what these games mean.
Yeah.
Truth be told, we haven't had meaningful baseball in September in like what 10 years, some shit like that. Like, let's be honest. And more than that, like you and I are still talking about it, and we're not necessarily the most biggest or most diehard Marlins fans out there, right? But look how much it's kept us entertained and how much we've gotten enjoyment from this season from the Marlins, dog. I just think that we kind of see the little rough patches of the diamond, which excite us, and then it turns around and we see the ugly part of the diamond. It's like, we still gotta buff this baby out. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a work in progress, but I just think it's amazing for this Marlins team to be where they're at. And me as the guy who was on the fence about the Marlins, now we're totally on being a hardcore Marlins fan and really believing in this team. Like I ordered a Marlins fitted, you know what I'm saying? Like I haven't ordered fitted in forever. Like I bought Marlins merchandise this year when I said I wasn't going to, right? Like on this same podcast. So they've done a great job of really reinvesting the Marlins, issues and putting them toward the forefront and putting their belief in this team. And the team has responded. I even got a new favorite pitcher slash reliever, bro. Andrew Nardi. This guy, this guy has been an amazing find for the Marlins. You know what I mean? He's 8-1 on the season, 2 saves, has an ERA of 2.62 as a pitcher for the Marlins. Amazing. Where the hell do you find guys like this? Because it's not like this guy's a known name around, the MLB world. Like, this is the type of stuff that the Marlins are doing. They have this guy locked in for the cheap for the next couple of years. Like, these are the signs that you see. Is like, wow, we really are building something. Can they compete in the playoffs? There's only one way to find out. Make the playoffs.
It's always good to have, more firepower in, as far as the pitchers go, especially at a time right now when we lost our Cy Young pitcher. Sandy was officially announced that he's done for the season, no longer going to pitch. So how do you feel about us moving forward? Granted, I know he hasn't really had his best season this year, but I mean, you got to feel a little concerned, not having our ace moving forward.
I don't think concerned is the word I would choose. I would choose the word disappointment. That's the one disappointment that I have for this season. That Sandy wasn't able to help this team compete and really solidify themselves in a wild card spot. Like you mentioned, he hadn't been playing the best this year, hadn't been pitching the best this year, and that's okay. But if Sandy would have given us 70% of what he was last year, 65% of what he was last year, there's no doubt in my mind that this division would be a lot closer, right? We would probably be on top of the Phillies as far as, second place in the division, maybe not that far off from Atlanta, but we would definitely be in a driver's seat comfortably. With these 6 games to go and the season ending and the Marlins being more locked into a wild card spot. We're not right now. Yeah. A lot of that has to do with the inconsistency that we got from starting pitching early on in the season. A lot of that has to do with Sandy, where he would come in and give up 4, 6, 8 runs, giving them multiple home runs in a game. It's like, that's not our Sandy. So that's the one disappointment, that he shut down for the rest of the season with 6 games left. I kind of find comfort in that because it at least starts the rehabilitation process for him earlier. Go ahead, the season's over for you. Get all that negative stuff out of your mind. Get yourself healthy. Start thinking about your off-season program and your workout regimen. The things, go look at tape, what you need to improve on, what type of tips were you giving as a pitcher. Like, those are the things that he's going to have to get back into to get back to that Cy Young form. So concern is not the issue. I think I'm disappointed in what he brought to the season, and I'm looking forward to how he can better himself for next season, because this team is amazing and it's going to be even better.
Yeah, we are. And you said it. We got 6 games left in the regular season. We're right there. We're a half game behind Philly, right?
Yep.
What do we got, to look forward to? This time next week, what are we talking about here on the show?
When it comes to the time that we'll be recording again, right, and we'll be doing it live in person, hopefully the Marlins will have clinched the wild card spot. They got 6 games left. They're starting a series tonight by the time you guys are hearing this against the New York Mets. Definitely a revenge series for what they did to us down here in Miami. We got to go up there and take care of business, hopefully sweep them, right? And then we finish off the season by heading to Pittsburgh. Both teams are eliminated from playoff contention, so they don't really have anything to play for except for being spoilers. And I'm sure that the Mets would love to end the Marlins season by killing their season by getting the series win. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're not necessarily the biggest Marlins fans, so if they can get a series on us and kill our hopes for the postseason, they'll be happy to do that. So we got to show our killer instinct, right? Show that we have enough cojones to make the playoffs and win these both series. I'm not saying we got to sweep both teams. That would definitely lock in the wild card spot, right? But go out there and win both and give yourself a shot, right? Go into Sunday, end of the season, giving yourself a shot to make the wild card spot and make the playoffs, earn the wild card spot.
We got to, man. We got to do it. I mean, you say you're not saying we got to sweep, and I understand where you're coming from, but man, it would be nice, man. It would, to control your own destiny there and just win out. Yeah, it's doable. It's partly doable.
100% doable.
So I really hope so, man. I hope this time next week we're talking about the playoff picture. And the Marlins being a part of that.
I got a good feeling about it. Right? If anything, this calendar year has shown us is that South Florida sports team find a way to make the playoffs. Like, Um,
Another successful South Florida sports weekend.
absolutely, absolutely,
So we
absolutely.
had the Dolphins with the big victory. We had the
Yep.
Marlins with the big series victory,
And
and we
now
had
we
the
got
Miami
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes with the big victory up in Temple.
And it wasn't like a big victory in the sense of the opponent that we were playing. We were just playing Temple, right? But we were playing on the road. The weather was crappy. A first real road test for the Hurricanes, and they went out there, showed up, took care of business, acted like professionals, looked like professionals, and walked away with a 41-7 win without a hiccup. Um, just showing that they can play well on the road, right? And you can tell that they were about their business because they went down and scored on their very first drive. Another team that we've seen them really focus on the running game this year. The 9 out of the 13 plays on that drive, that first drive, were running plays. Just shows you how much Mario Cristobal is committed to giving Harry Parrish Jr. his opportunities as a playmaker, one of our probably the main playmaker when it comes to playmakers in that offense, besides TVD. Opportunities to just go out there and touch the ball, get a feel for the game, right? Especially when it's raining. You know you don't want to be throwing the ball too much. You want to be able to go out there and run the ball. And the Hurricanes did that, man. It's
And
just impressive.
credit to Crystal Ball, dog. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
he struggled last year, and it was a product of, I guess, Manny's team still, and maybe the remnants of it or
for
whatever.
sure.
But you know, one thing that happened last year was the regression of Tyler Van Dyke, and we saw how much he was getting hit. Bro, we were seeing a whole different O line. There's a lot of parallels right now between the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Hurricanes, and that the O lines are completely night and day difference from last year to this year. You know, and that's what opens up the running room for the running backs, including Parrish, and then it also allows TVD to not have to stand there and get rocked every other play, bro. You know, he's able to
Absolutely.
sit comfortably in the pocket and just sling that thing.
I mean, look, the Dolphins put up 726 yards against the Broncos. The Hurricanes put up 520. I'm sorry, 543 yards on the Temple Owls. Like, yeah, credit to Cristobal. You know, we're sticking to the running game. We're sticking to playing dominant style football. We had 323 yards on the ground that day. You know what I mean? Like, Parrish Jr. was a man on a mission. He had 16 carries for 139 of those yards with 2 touchdowns.
The Canes
Um,
look so much bigger though than those Temple Owls, man. They were just manhandling those kids.
you need to have that on the offensive line. That's why we
Of
went and
course.
got that redshirt freshman. His name escapes me. He has that Hawaiian last name, which is obviously hard for me to pronounce. I think it's you can look it up so I don't murder it, but it's something like Manjuai, something like that. But that kid is a giant. He's like 6'7", 300 pounds, 19, 18 years old. He's a baby, but he's a giant on that offensive line. And the size is what was desperately lacking down here in Miami. We always had like these small, agile, quick offensive linemen, but it doesn't work when you're trying to run the ball. And now you can tell the difference. We have big dudes up front who can push guys back, and Parrish and Fletcher Jr. and those guys back there in the backfield, they're taking advantage of it. The Hurricanes are definitely an offensive juggernaut at this point. They're currently boasting the 7th best scoring offense in the nation, along with the 8th best total offense. I think we're top 12 in rushing and passing. Just a very good offensive team. And if you think that we're all offense, not the case. This defense is really playing well. They're coming up with turnovers. There was one player who had multiple interceptions in this past game against a Temple. Like, they're firing on all cylinders, and it's because they are playing with that confidence of saying, "This is the scheme that we like to play in. We feel comfortable with our coach. Let's go out there and show what we can do."
And to do it without one of their best, if not their best player on defense in Cam Kitchens, who suffered an
Right.
injury late in the previous game. You know, we thought we were like, well, what's gonna be missing? Who's gonna let up? And instead, everybody just locked down. You know, I'm telling you, it was men playing against boys in this game, and that
Big
was
time.
what was expected. Hurricanes covered the spread. They looked fantastic all the way through offense, defense, special teams. Dude, Restrepo's a beast. I got to tell you right now, that TVD
Love that
Restrepo
guy.
combo is real nice.
Love
And
that guy.
TVD, bro, if he continues to play the way that he's playing right now, I mean, you're talking Heisman candidate, and you're talking first round in the NFL next year.
Absolutely. We talked about his stock, right? And how it continues to rise. Like, this dude has multiple 300 yards throwing games. Like, those are things that NFL scouts definitely pay attention to. As long as we keep winning and the offense keeps up putting numbers, yeah, a lot of dudes on this team are going to get the right type of attention. And Tyler Van Dyke is going to be one of those guys who benefit the most because we've always seen it. Like that was one of the things that he definitely was attributed. He had an NFL ready arm, a guy who has the size and the stature to play quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, man, his stock is going to be rising as the Kane stock continue to rise. We
And
see
it's
him
rising, dog. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
rising
They
inside the
moved up
top
to
20.
18. Moved
Yep.
up to 18, man. Like that's impressive as hell for the Hurricanes, dog. Essentially, year 2 into the Crystal Ball project, right? Like you would have thought it would have taken like 2-3 years to really get rolling and get this team on some type of um, confidence level that they can feel comfortable at. But man, everybody seems to be bought in, and Crystal Ball is just taking over South Florida and the Hurricanes.
The only thing the Hurricanes need right now, I mean, there's a couple things they need,
A
but
couple things.
first and foremost, they need to keep playing the way they're playing.
Yes,
They need
sir.
to keep balling. They need to keep putting up points, and they need to keep winning in dominant fashion. That's number
Yes,
one.
sir.
The second thing the Hurricanes kind of need, unfortunately, is they kind of need the Seminoles to keep doing what they're doing.
Right.
Let's face it.
No, and
Seminoles are
too.
number 5 right now in the country. It only helps knowing that you face them later this year in Tallahassee. It only helps if their stock is also rising, so that way you can go ahead and just tear them down and then climb all those spots in the top, in the top ranking. So, this is a good start. They've had a couple of cookie cutter, easy little games, with the exception of the A&M game. I think that was their toughest challenge, and they still had a great showing. Now it starts to get a little bit tighter, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. ACC play starts, man. And we're off this weekend. We don't play again until October 7th at home, where we're taking on Georgia Tech. But that's a tough team to play against.
After
That's
a
a tough
bye
team
week.
after a bye week, like how focused, how much drive are you guys gonna have in order to come out there and protect the house? Georgia Tech, they know that the Hurricanes are ranked 18th and probably will move up depending on who loses this weekend without the Hurricanes playing. So they're going to be coming in here looking to knock us off, right? And saying, "Well, forget these boys, right? Like let's show them what real football is all about." We have to be ready for the challenge. Go ahead.
How do you feel about the bye week being so early?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it because I think what Cristobal is going to use this time for is to turn down the hype. Like, yeah, we're ranked 18th. Yeah, we're 4-0. Yeah, we're putting up these numbers offensively, but it's not going to mean shit unless we could go out there and dominate and play the same way in the ACC, right? Because like as much as Clemson has taken a step back, when we face them in 3 weeks, right? Or yeah, in 3 weeks, we're going to have to be playing our best type of football because they just went toe to toe with the same FSU team that we're going to face down the road. So ACC opponents know each other way too well for anybody to be quote unquote laying down and just taking a loss. That's not going to happen. That's why I think that Georgia Tech game is so important. We're coming off that bye week. We have to show that ability to maintain the focus, maintain our composure, maintain our energy up, and go out there and beat them handily. Not necessarily blow them out because we know that they're offensively gifted, but we got to go out there and beat them handily and give ourselves a real shot to making this season count for something more than we have before.
Yeah, no, it might come as a good little reset right now.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that they are 4-0. I like that thought process that it's time for Cristobal to kind of reel everybody in and go, all right, that was the preseason, guys.
Yeah.
You did great job. We know where we stand. We know where we need to improve. We know what we can do well so far. Now comes the regular season.
For sure. And again, that Georgia Tech game is going to be big, October 7th. Following that up against Clemson, I'm going to be at that game.
That's here in Miami, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's a big deal for us too, because Death Valley is not an easy place to play up in Clemson. Nope. And that Clemson FSU game came down to a missed field goal on Clemson's part, really. So Clemson had that game.
So again, think about how focused Clemson is going to come into that game if we move up in the rankings this week without playing, go out there and take care of business against Georgia Tech, and then possibly continue to move up. Like Clemson's going to be looking to knock us off, man, and we got to be ready for that. We got to be ready 100%. For that ACC challenge, man.
100%. But who else? I mean, besides Clemson and FSU, I mean, who else in the ACC do you think is a formidable opponent right now for the
North
Canes?
Carolina, because North Carolina has that quarterback who I forget his name. I suck with names, dog. But their quarterback,
the offensive lineman, by the way, is Francis Mauigoa.
That's the guy. You see, I knew it ended with a goal or something like that. The quarterback from North Carolina, that's another NFL ready quarterback. He's probably going to be one of the first guys like Tyler Van Dyke that gets called. Break May, yeah, that dude has been killing it. He's a real legit quarterback. And anytime you have a really good quarterback, guess what? You have a shot to win the football game because he's gonna put the ball in places where the defenders can't get it. So that
North
game is gonna
Carolina always plays the Canes pretty tough too.
always, 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 always. So that's why I said like this Georgia Tech game is gonna be how much can we focus for the ACC? Are we gonna come into the ACC with the right mindset, the right mind frame, and really look to put teams on notice that hey, the Hurricanes are on their way back, and we're gonna show it to you week in, week out. Let's see.
I think that besides getting that win, just a mere victory, I think it has to be impressive too, bro. For people for the country to really look down at the bottom of the map and go, oh shit, the U is back. I think they got to keep winning by two, three scores every game against opponents where they should be doing it. You go into Florida State and you win by a point or a field goal, different story. Right. But you go into Georgia Tech and you win 40-17, 40-10. You're going to get a lot more respect than a 24-21, duel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think if they can average about 17 points differential as far as margin of victories, that'll be really impressive against Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Clemson. So,
and that'll get them the votes up in the ranking, dog. They got to do it, impressive fashion. So, shout out to the Hurricanes, man. They're looking good. My UCF Knights did suffer a loss this week in their first Big 12 play.
But y'all hung in there, though.
Yeah, we hung it. We got a backup quarterback, dog, honestly. If we had Plumlee in there, our starting quarterback, I think it would have been a whole different ball game because we were a little competitive. We do got speed. We do got pieces. But, our backup QB just couldn't get it done. So,
I mean, look, with a backup quarterback, you lose 44-31. Got to be happy with that, man.
You're not happy with it now. But
with a loss, but hey, with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Bro, Florida football's on fire. You got 3 Florida teams in the top 25. Yeah. FSU's at 5, Hurricanes at 18, and I think Florida's at 22. Yep. So Florida's really holding it down right now for college football.
Except for FIU, they got smoked by Liberty 38-6.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're currently 0-2 in the CUSA conference. I don't know what's going on there, man. They had that little 3-game win streak, but they got to try to find a way to win games. You know what I mean? I know they have enough talent to do so.
It was bad. It was bad.
Keep an eye on those guys.
They did not cover. They did not cover.
They did not cover the spread. You know who else didn't cover the spread? Inter Miami CF, the Herons. Now they got a name, the Herons.
Oh, really? Herons. We are?
Yeah, it's official now, I guess. Like, we don't have to call it Inter Miami CF, but I'm just going to go Inter Miami.
The Herons.
Yeah, the Herons. But they couldn't get, they had that big game against Orlando this past Sunday, and you and I spoke about how they really needed to win that game to solidify their spot, really jump ahead a bunch of teams and get closer to their goal of making the wild card playoff spot. But they couldn't walk away with the 3 points. They got up ahead early. We scored 1-0, and then about 13, 15 minutes later, they gave up the equalizer. But we walk away with a point. Game ends in a 1-1 draw. Leo Messi did not play this game. He sat out the game because he's dealing with some scar tissue issues. So
which he suffered. Well, he suffered. I think he suffered. I don't know if he suffered the injury or he made it worse or whatever it was in the prior game. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. The game that we did win without Messi.
Correct.
Won that 4-0.
Yeah, won that 4-0. And then he left early. So they sat him out this next game. We didn't have Jordi Alba would play. Sergio Busquets missed the game. And they kind of wanted to rest these guys because on Wednesday we're playing in a final, which we'll touch on later. But, it's still kind of upsetting because, like, anytime you have a lead, you kind of feel like you have to win that game in soccer, right? Because it's so much easier to defend and keep pushing forward and try to score another goal rather than sit back and kind of absorb the shots. And that's kind of what happened against Orlando. They outshot us. They had more shots on target, on goal. So it was a wasted opportunity, but we did walk away with a point, and we're still in good shape.
It could have been a whole lot worse, though, right? I mean, we could have. I mean, we played in Orlando, and we could have lost that game. We could have got our asses handed to us, and to walk away with a point at least is kind of like the silver lining.
Especially when you're playing without your 3 major keys, right? Like it's okay to walk away with a point. And like I said, we're still in 14th place, but we're only 5 points away from the wild card spot. So
So
as we
crazy.
know, or as Joel learned last episode, you get 3 points for a win. Inter Miami CF still has 2 games in hand, so we have opportunities to catch up to these teams. We have an opportunity to catch New York Club FC. I don't know why they're called that. I think it's New York City FC. Excuse me. A team we can hop over with a win, and we also have another matchup against I think it's DC United, another team that's kind of in the dumps, teams that we can beat and jump ahead. So let's see. Let's see if the Herons can make it interesting and get themselves into the playoff spot with the Marlins. That'll be dope, right? Like if over the weekend these teams jump up and get closer and the Marlins make the playoffs. Wow.
I mean, by next time we record, we're gonna know. You know, we're gonna have our answers, I would think. But the question is, so is Messi playing in this championship on Wednesday?
Yes, sir. So the U.S. Open Cup final takes place Wednesday. We're playing against the Houston Dynamo, and the coach confirmed that Messi, Alba, and Busquets all will be available for this game. So there's a good chance that Inter Miami wins their second trophy in about 2 months, which is wild after not winning anything, or not really winning games. Period. So yeah, things
Being
are
dead
turning up for
last in the
this Inter
league.
Miami team, man. Yeah, bro. I mean,
I
we're still
just,
kind of second to dead last, but we're moving on up.
which is wild to me. Like we're still alive, but we're still down there in the rankings. I
Right?
just I mean, it would be dope to see this team make it to the playoffs. I mean, they just get into the playoffs, forget about it. They're taking it all.
Hey, go out there and win another trophy on Wednesday. Give yourself some momentum heading into the weekend into the MLS, man. Let's go. Let's get this championship cup. All right. Before we wrap up, we got some honorable mentions. We got for our boxing fans, Canelo versus Jermell Charlo for Canelo Super Middleweight Undisputed Championship belts. You know me, I love a good boxing match, and I'm gonna break this one down with our guy Victor Bermudez later on this week. We're gonna post that on the Sports with Social YouTube channel. That's another cue for you guys to go subscribe right now. Joel, what do you think about that matchup? I know you're not too much into the boxing scene, but Jermell Charlo is a dude who can really present some type of problems for Canelo, or do you think Canelo walks away with another victory?
I was already putting my money on Canelo.
Smart man.
I mean, I don't
Smart
know.
man.
I don't know shit about Dick when it comes to boxing, dog, but it's Canelo. I mean, we're
Right.
talking about one of the greatest of all time, bro.
Yeah.
You know, this guy is a champion, bro. And I don't know about Charlo. You know, I could be talking a lot of shit because I don't know his opponent. So, you know, no disrespect to that guy, but I just know the greatness that is Canelo. And
The smart money is always on Canelo, man, for
Yeah.
sure. Because this is a dude that's chasing legacy, right? And that's something that we've talked about when it comes to combat sports, right? When you're fighting somebody who's chasing legacy, that's usually a tougher mountain to climb. You know what I mean? That ain't no regular hill. So we'll see if Charlo's up to the task. But we're gonna be breaking down that fight, and we're gonna be watching on Saturday night, so you guys can follow along too. And then, of course, this Friday, one of the biggest golf tournaments is happening in the world, bro. The Ryder Cup, USA versus Europe. It's going down, dog. Let's go.
Down. It's
USA,
going down.
USA, USA.
Oh, okay. So I know who you're rooting for. Got it.
Of course, dog. Oh, these colors don't run.
Nah, man. Ryder Cup weekend is finally here. I mean, this only happens every 2 years. We don't get this event every year. It's one of the few team events in golf. It's one of the most electrifying, exciting, and entertaining golf events that happens ever. USA versus the Euro team. USA has not won in Europe since 1992 or something like that, 91. It's been over 30 years since we've won, and we're playing again in Europe this year in Italy.
But let me tell you, they're smart about how they go about it, because I was watching something over the weekend how they kind of alter the courses that they're going to be playing the Ryder Cup at to be in the favor of the European players. Oh, USA guys got a lot of long drivers. Let's put a bunch of OBs and traps and stuff like that. Tall grass. Let's move everything back about 20 yards. Kind of a smart move there by the Europeans.
100%. They always do that, and it's a smart play for them because the Euros know how to play in those conditions. They thrive in those conditions. This is not going to be any different at the Marco Simone Golf and Country Club in Rome, where this event is being held and taking place. Let's go through, a couple of the guys on the teams.
Who made the teams?
All right, so do you want to go Euro team first, or you want to go Team USA first?
Come on, Papa. USA all the way.
All right, so there was a little bit of controversy on the Team USA, but our final rosters is we got Sam Burns, Patrick
Ooh.
Cantlay, Wyndham Clark, Ricky Fowler, Brian Harmon, Max Homa, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, and the controversial pick, Justin Thomas. And I say
Ooh.
controversial because of the fact that a lot of people didn't think that Justin Thomas had the year that would warrant a Ryder Cup selection.
I would know that because I picked him like 7 times.
Didn't
You
do
know what
too
I mean?
great. You know, his last best thing that he did was a major championship, which was in 2022, I believe. He won the PGA
Correct.
championship. But it's Justin Thomas we're talking about. You know, we've seen him paired up with Tiger Woods in the President's Cup. We've seen him paired up with Ricky Fowler and with his boy Jordan Spieth. You know, and how they can ham and egg it and put things together in this kind of format. You know,
Right.
and also, it's the good old boys club, bro. I mean, they're all homies. They're all friends. They're going to pick who they want to vibe out with when they're not playing to keep that energy and vibe the same.
Yeah.
I'm all right with it. You know, I think that, you know, the person that I'm thinking is missing here the most is another live guy. You know, the only live guy on this team is Brooks Koepka,
Yep.
who won his 5th major trophy this year.
And
And then that's really what got him that you know start. But a guy like Dustin Johnson, who is lights out in Ryder Cup formats, didn't get the nod. You know, didn't have the best season. We didn't get to see a lot of him, you know, play this year because of live and all that stuff. But that's a guy that I think the USA is going to miss in the Ryder Cup. What do you
I
think?
mean,
So
no disrespect to Wyndham Clark, no disrespect to Burnsy, but I'd rather have just Dustin Johnson than those 2 guys on the squad. You know what I mean? And if we talk about the type of years that these golfers had, right? Like Justin Thomas does not validate being on the squad. Like his performances didn't warrant him earning a spot. You know what I mean? Because like he was just so off the path. You know what I mean? When it came to like the rest of the guys who were playing, and basically, I think it's kind of fucked up that we didn't have more live guys on there because there were some live guys who were playing really well and probably deserved spots on there, right? Maybe the formats is different and like the point system aren't the same and shit as far as like winning tournaments, but playing golf, you know this better than I do. Is a game of being repetitive, being in a good mood, being in a good rhythm. Some of those guys don't necessarily have that heading into the Ryder Cup.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, another guy that got snubbed was Bryson. You know, we didn't see Bryson, another live guy, you know, who would I think do very, very well in this format. You know, he's all about America. He gets fired up. He's a competitor. He can hit the ball far as shit. You know, that's another guy that we're going to be missing here. So I just think that our main guys need to step up. You know, who are the main guys? Scotty needs to step up. Colin needs to step up. Brooks needs to step up. You know, we need big wins out of those guys, you know, in their respective matches because the Euros got some firepower, bro.
Who they got on the squad?
Let me get into that squad a little bit. So Euros are led off by the golden boy, Rory McIlroy, followed by, was he this year's Masters winner? Yeah, he was. God, it was so long ago. The current Masters winner and owner of the green jacket, John Rahm. Yes. You got Robert McIntyre, who might not be a household name. Victor Hovland, who is on fire right now, current FedEx Cup champion. Tyrrell Hatton, who is a wiry and fiery fella, but he's a monster, bro. You can't mess with that guy. Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Sepp Straka, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry. The last 2, you know, might not be household names of Nikolai Hogard and Ludwig Aberg. But I mean, the rest of the guys that I named are killers, bro. There. You talk about that top 4 for these guys with McIlroy, Rahm, Hovland, and shit. You can throw in anyone you want into that 4th spot. Hatton, Fleetwood, Sepp Straka, bro. Like they're all beasts, and these guys know how to play these types of courses. They're all catered to this kind of format. So I'm a little concerned for the USA team. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, right, like those first 2 matchups, they'll cancel each other out because it's world best versus world best, right? Okay, cool. But then you talk about that 3rd matchup, Victor Hovland is going to have the edge on anybody he faces, dog. Because
he's playing some good golf.
He's playing really good golf, and imagine that guy's confidence level right now, coming off big victories, FedEx Cup, like just that good rhythm, like I mentioned earlier, that he's in, that he knows these guys that he's facing are not.
Yeah. Hovland is scary, bro.
That boy's on fire.
The other scary part is how late we have to stay up to watch the Ryder Cup, unfortunately, because it is in Italy right now. I know it's so it's 8 o'clock right now, about to be 8 o'clock on the East Coast here this Monday night. It's 2 a.m. over there. So what is that?
6,
7 hour difference.
7 hours. Yeah.
Shit.
Slight work, dog.
So when it's 8 a.m. it's 1 a.m. for us, dog. We're gonna have to be up real early or wake up real early to catch some of these matches this week.
Well, good thing that I know you're gonna be doing it, so I'll be texting you, all right? Because I'm definitely gonna be watching, dog. Like you said, man, we don't get to see this that often, bro. And this year, the matchups are gonna be badass, man. They're gonna be badass. So make sure you guys are tuned in. If you love golf, getting into golf, this is a great tournament to watch, man. Because you get to see it on both sides.
Last major golf event of the year, and it's probably the most exciting one to happen this year. So.
Yo, it's time, dog. We gotta go watch Monday Night Football. Like, I think it's time. It's time to tell a friend.
To tell a friend.
To tell another friend.
To tell one more friend.
To tell one more friend about this amazing podcast that we're bringing you guys week in and week out, whether it's in person, through video stream, whatever. We're bringing you the stats, we're bringing you the noise, and we're bringing you the fun. Until next time,
peace.